that started everything. But this whole conversation with color, I've been a colorist all my life, you know, I loved color. And it kind of started during COVID. I think everybody was affected in some way through COVID, even more the creative people. And I thought, okay, I've got the show coming up, and I just put on my music, I'll be fine, and I'll paint. And I started painting, and I made mud. And well, this is no big deal because I paint in layers, so I'll just paint over. And I don't know how many layers I did, and I just said, this is not working. So I covered with white, and I went, And so I started to research colors and where this white was coming from, and it's got a lot of religious uh, things about it, but it also symbolizes peace and new beginnings. And so that was what set me on the path to white. And then I finally, with this show, got back into color, and it worked. I worked a lot differently on these pieces than I have on recent works. I can do different things on paper than I can on canvas and on panel. But I don't know, the paint just reacts differently. And I use um, golden mainly. Um, but our world is just filled with color. It's everywhere, and it influences our feelings, what we wear, even what we eat. They did an experiment with fettuccine alfredo, and the people that had red plates put 30% less fettuccine alfredo than the people with white plates, which I thought was crazy. Maybe I need to get some red plates. But anyway, I know that Karen and Ross like red, and red is an intense hot color, but it's stimulating as well. And if you add orange, it will convey warmth and enthusiasm. Um, it, color is it's just an amazing thing. Yellow is emotional, energizing. It radiates and raises your confidence level, which and it simulates creativity. Um, so I tried to incorporate all these colors in a lot of these paintings. Um, green is positive, makes your emotions stronger and more positive. It makes the juices flow. Um, it's harmonizing, and it creates a sense of calm and reassurance. And then there's blue. Blue it's soothing, and it calms the mind, and it apparently blue has the most profound and biggest effect on people's emotions than anything else. The colors that you wear can that color that Karen has on is it is a communication between the heart and the brain. I know two people who are going through cancer right now, and aqua and that turquoise, light turquoise, calms them. And when they get upset about their what they're facing, they look at that color to calm them. Color is just amazing. Now I know that I've talked to a lot of people about their favorite colors, and I know that Laurie Wilson has a particular color of mauve that she likes, and it was the color of her grandmother's walls. Now my favorite color is, I don't have anything in this color, but I grew up in a house that had all these windows in the front with the little bitty panes. And this was back in the 50s. I'm old. And the wallpaper was burgundy with big white flowers, and all the sofas and the chairs had the doilies on the arms and on the back. And in the spring, my job was to clean those windows. And we had two huge oak trees in the front yard. Now, I don't know if anybody remembers a product called glass wax. It goes on and it dries opaque. And then you wipe it off. It's a little bit dusty. And I would do all the windows. And there was like maybe 1 or 2 days out of the year when those leaves turned this lime green. And I would wash the Windex off, and it was just this magical thing to see this lime green. So that's always, and I don't have anything that color, but there's a little lime green in everything. I paint intuitively. I don't think about what I'm doing. Um, I'll stand back and look at it and think about it, but mostly they're all very emotional, and there's a lot of my soul in them. I noticed last night when Chris Alvarez talked, and he did a demo, and he started out by drawing in the lines. Well, the first thing I do on a big canvas is I just put paint all over it. I have to claim the canvas so it's not so intimidating. And I thought, that's what Chris is doing. He's claiming his canvas. And I know a lot of artists do that. You know, they'll sketch out what they're going to do. But I wanted to basically, there's so many layers of paint. And then I go through and pull the history out of the paint behind, and paint over it and rub it, and then every once in a while something will appear, like this little piece right here, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, it's these little things come out and say hello, you know, here's your color, I'm back. And I started using some palette knife. These after they're done, I come back with a palette knife and just, you kind of have to just like do it once and then not mess with it, because if you try and mess with it, it messes up. And the titles are really important to me, because I think a title will communicate to the viewer what this is about. And sometimes after I finish them, I'll look at them for a long time and think, what is this painting telling me? And this one right here is called The Angel's Dram. Now, I've spent a lot of time in Scotland and had a lot of scotch. And when the whiskey is cured in the barrels, some of it evaporates through the wood, and they call that the angel's dram. And I looked at that and I said, that's an angel, and there's the dram. I mean, I could have gone back and really, emphasized the wings and everything, and no, I like it that way. And where's the one with the little crane in it? It's over there. That just happened like in 5 minutes, and I looked and said, "That's done. It's a crane." And so I just really enjoyed the whole body of work. The big ones were the last two that I did. I should have done them first because they were sitting over in my studio, this big white thing going, here I am, I'm waiting. And I did want to do something in yellow, so that was yellow, and it had a lot of lavender under it, but I covered a lot of it up because it was just too much. And then those little black squares happened, and I mean, it's like little gifts that you have to be open to. And so these took me over 2 weeks to do and finish because I kept working them. And Miriam's husband, Brock, they live a couple of blocks away, and first thing he does is go in my studio. And I said, Art, don't go in there. It's ugly. You're not going to like it. It's the first layer. It was all red and black and all this stuff. And he came out, he said, I don't normally agree with you, but that's pretty bad. So anyway, I had fun, and the color just revives me. It's a mix. It's a mix of brushwork, and I use a lot of rubbing alcohol to pull the paint off the top. Some palette knife. On the ones that have lines, that's the very last thing I do, because your arm just makes this perfect arc, and I would make one and then turn it. It was just fun to do. But yeah, I mix some colors on a palette, and some I mix on the actual piece. And I like to mix two colors next to each other and not completely mix them, so I get two colors on my brush, and I just, yeah, and it's been tested. They put it out in the sun for years, and it never fades, and you can thin it down, and you still get a richness to it. But their colors are just so rich, and then sometimes I come back with oil pastel. But this purple drip here, this magenta drip, it just happened, and I tried to do it again, and I tried everything, and I can't get it to do it again. Yeah, in school, in college, I did, but we did so many still lifes, and I was just like, oh, please. And don't scrub your brush. And now I just scrub my brush all the time.